So let's talk about my theories to that endgame. Anyway, hey everybody, what's up? This is Retrokid Reviews doing another late night, I guess, recording for my, I guess, D&D slash, overall thoughts of Critical Role this week. As stated, there was no episode of 121, aka what is now confirmed to be the finale of the campaign. However, the State of the World did leave a lot to determine what is going to happen later next week when that drops. So essentially what they said in the State of the World is that they had a whole production at a whopping 8 hours of a total sesh, mainly because when they went into I think break for the taping, that is when the Pasadena and most of the other California wildfires started around that point. That is when they were filming the finale of the campaign. So that's kind of where the next thing comes in. There wasn't really that much announcements other than the charity stream they did as of this recording yesterday. So go to the full one shot there to see just how genuinely infectious it was, just seeing them with the guardrails off and just basically treating it like a house game essentially. That's my big takeaway from it. But honestly, there was some really weird yet fun. I think they said it best, like Freaky Thursday / Freaky Friday style, kind of like body swaps of previous characters of other campaigns and stuff. And the current campaign of Bell's House swapping back, and it is genuinely fun. Spoilers for a character death in 3, 2. Yeah, it was really cool to see SEG again. I thought it'd be a hard task for Sam to do. Again, it's a charity streams. I wasn't expecting much, but he went back into the character like it was nothing. And it has a lot of, I guess, personal ties, because I think, I forgot the last time there was a state of role was his life, when he was coming back to the campaign post-cancer. So again, go to that as well in the cards. Last up, this is really gonna be the big draw, if this is time-coded, right? Hopefully tomorrow, in the future of me, I guess, editing this. My overall thoughts of how the end game is gonna go on, and my personal theory of what, game module they're going to be using for campaign 4. I'll start by where I started copying character sheets homework to where I generally think they will probably do. So the copy paste section is essentially, I do think they're still going to probably use Daggerheart. They went an entire year and a half marketing just the beta of the game module. Also is not out of a limb that they will probably do that, or at the very least dedicate mini-series or some level of one-shots to get a better understanding of how the game module itself works on a normal Exandrian setting. However, I do also hope that it is the preferred module going forward. If not, if they want to stick to traditional 5e with a new, I guess, land, new terminology, just to undeify due to it still being a Hasbro property. Speaking as someone who reviews Hasbro properties for a living, I can empathize with that event, essentially. So, last up, they didn't do any other announcements of animated properties of their own. Obviously, Campaign 1 of Vox Machina, no trailer yet for their 4th season, and obviously with the passing of Lance Reddick last year, when they were filming that, it is understandable that they will take their time. It has been 2 years. Wow. Time is weird. Sorry in advance. Big things here. Long story short, there was no confirmations yet. I believe Travis and Laura on their socials probably try to confirm some stuff they're doing with the Mighty 9 adaptation. I could be wrong, so again, go to their socials as usual. That all being said, my overall thoughts of the situation at hand when it was the wildfire. I said this, I think I could be wrong by Toku News, when Boom Booger's new episode dropped. I hope nothing for the best for everybody. There's no new updates of anybody's houses, of how they are rebuilding after the fires. But for all I've heard so far is that the studio is safe and sound, obviously because they continued, at the very least, editing their pre-tapes for the finale of Campaign 3. So that being said, let's get to it. How do I think it's going to end? Well, now, knowing it's an 8-hour session, there might still be one last bit of combat. My only theory would be Perdothos would most likely try to get out of Imogen and restart that whole sequence again. As far as wrap-ups go, which will probably be the detriment of, like, the rest of the runtime with the new episode next week, we'll probably have a lot of ties to the previous campaigns and obviously what was currently going on with Bell's Hells. That's probably one big epilogue that they all rightfully deserve, given the 10 years of all three of these, campaigns back to back. So, lastly, uh, that's kind of where I am. Who I hope gets to like not they all basically live except for FCG and a few others that is escaping me. Oh yeah, Bertrand. My apologies. Wow, the namesake of the Bells itself. It's been a long 3 years with these honestly slapdicks. We're about long enough so I can talk about some crazy shit, right? All right, cool. So I did mention this briefly in the shorts. Go to my shorts, by the way. We'll get to that in the end cards. That I kind of freaked out on the whole Imogen using lightning titties to inspire Breas and mid combat. And speaking of Breas, yeah, I wish I didn't do that reaction because I would have loved to have done his impromptu portrayal for a betrayer god. I forgot that one off the top of my head. Wiki down below, obviously, on his character sheet and lore, basically saying, no, we're gonna hijack this one. We're gonna hijack Protoss because my god needs him out of the game, kind of shit. My best guess in Sam's case, he was probably, I guess in his god's case, was probably trying to like siphon the power, try to like do what Ludinus was trying to do, but now on DD, not DD, DDD, divine kind of scale, I guess, more or less. Speaking of divine, wow, there's a lot of divine interventions in last week's episode, including, of course, yeah, sorry, this is a sliding into review farther here, but yeah, Ashley finally having silvery barbs, which is apparently a huge healing strat for, I think, Marisha's character for Lana throughout the majority of the campaign. Having to see that happen for another character is like, oh, so this is what I should have had like 14 levels ago. I was like, yeah, okay. I also am very much aware of what a lot of people online have been mitigating and asking them what to do and stuff like that. Again, I have yet to have been on a actual table of solo sesh of any kind of D&D. I'm just collecting dice at this point. Still thinking of getting some next time I go to Comic-Con later this year, hopefully, as far as money goes. That having been said, that's kind of where I am. So wrap-ups. My personal theory is that they're going to stick to mostly Daggerheart because they have to for marketing reasons because they've dedicated nearly, I think, all of the pandemic just to get that game out. So I would kind of see where they have to go there. If not, I kind of believe they would do for one-shots or miniseries like the Exandria and Unlimited one they just announced also, card that trailer if that's out. Dedicated to using or at least beta testing Daggerheart into Exandria before they get the kinks out for like a full campaign down the road. As for campaign 4, my overall thoughts, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a lot of speculation to who's what. I think Laura briefly mentioned, I think in their fireside chat, that she wants to do a barbarian. I think it's the only like D&D class she hasn't done yet. That would be interesting if she does do it. It has a lot of ties to obviously Travis being her husband, also Grog of it all. So I kind of see where that is. As for my overall thoughts of the end game, now knowing it is a 8-hour runtime, and still a 3-year critter by the start of the year, I'm probably gonna hit 4 right around when whenever Fox Machina's new season drops. Just saying that in advance. It'll be interesting. My only real theory is that Predathos may do one last bit of combat, and that probably be it. After that, it'll be a lot of deliberation for the gods, and maybe the gods themselves will probably have to step in, which might also trigger combat, which means this will probably be the last battle map for this campaign until they do reunions and stuff later down the road. Like we'll obviously see for Jester's wedding for the Mighty Nine. I don't know what god would normally step in. Again, I don't know every betrayer god off the top of my head, especially for the prime deities as well. Also, speaking of, for all the critters out there, you gotta give me a like on this video, by the way. I don't do this mid-video, just saying. But the fact that I spent 3 years and I know 30% of just the Bill's Hill side of the lore, you gotta give me credit there. So, yeah. It's going to be an interesting endgame nonetheless, regardless of how this all goes down next week. So with that all being said, and my almost close enough to not be ramblings aside, yeah, go to the dice here to sub the channel, hit the notification bell down below. Gear here, as always, to subscribe. And hands here, obviously, to for my previous shorts playlist of not only current Nerf content, but obviously last week's campaign update. I will try to... No, this is going to be the campaign update. Yeah, I was trying changing on the die. So, previous episodes there on the shorts, and obviously, other hand here, too. Speaking of Nerf, my X-Shot Fury X review. I still have the box here. I got to throw that out probably later this week. So, with that all being said, take care, subscribe, and to every critter who has found me in this channel, I want to thank you for 3 years of well, 3.5 years now going on. Whenever, like I said, whenever Fox Machina drops later this year, will be mostly my anniversary into the fandom. I want to thank you for putting up with me as a newbie now going into his now mid-30s, figuring out D&D a decade late. That's kind of where I'm at. But again, thank you for your patience, critters, and for my subscribers who don't want to listen to this content. Again, I thank you again for your patience. And with that all being said, without turning into a Christopher Walken touching tips reference aside, I gotta go. I gotta get some sleep. And with that all being said, oh, I am not ready for 8 hours of that campaign. Seriously, man?